Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sub-Auteurs. We like movies. I'm Mai.
Hello again, friend of a friend.
I'm Misha, and I take no responsibility for Anjo.
Okay.
Mai gets it though. Mai gets it.
Of course I do. I've seen this movie a bajillion times.
But it takes me to Brie Larson.
Yeah, good times. But
Good
okay, yes, we will be talking about a very not recent movie, but there is recent news that got people excited for it all over again. So
Yes.
let's talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Woohoo!
Come to think of it, that song's opening line is perfect for this whole situation just because it's a 13-year-old movie at this point in time.
Fuck
And
you.
Netflix has this. I know.
Scott Pilgrim, the movie is 13 years old.
Yeah, it was released in 2010, guys. It's now 2020.
This movie would be going to high school now.
Yes. Or junior high. I don't know. K to 12.
Oh my
Never existed in my
God.
time. In our time. Especially your time, Isha.
Shut up.
But anyway, going back to my point, the opening lines of that song, of Metric's song, is perfect for this movie. Just because this movie, as I said earlier, was released in 2010 and Netflix is reviving it in 2023, 13 years later.
But here's the kicker. They are doing it with the entire cast from the movie reprising their characters.
Yes,
Literally
that's why.
everybody. It's
Yes.
so
Right.
fun.
Hello again, guys. Hello again to the cast and the characters. That's fucking
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Like, literally everyone came back. And I guess it just goes to show how much love and fun went into making the film because everybody said yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'm
Captain
thinking
America,
that
as big as he is, said yes.
I'm thinking like maybe, just maybe, I think maybe that the animated series is going to try and be more faithful to the graphic novels that the movie was based on. And I think the actors are excited to just revisit these characters that everybody knows and loves and maybe interpret them in a different way.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and can't wait to see it. When is it going to be released again on Netflix? Because I already searched I wanted to look back and watch it again, even if I've watched it a billion times. I went to look for it on Netflix, and it didn't have the movie, but it already had like a page for the series
Yes.
that's about to come out. But wala pang laman, no photos, no nothing. But it's just there, Scott Pilgrim.
Yes. They
I hate it when Netflix does
They
that.
didn't even make a clever thumbnail or whatnot.
No, nothing.
It's a good thing then that the movie is on HBO Go for anyone who was looking for it.
I did not think to open HBO Go. I have to renew my subscription. That being said, I have to. Oops, just knocked my mic.
She
there.
got so excited.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again. But then I'm gonna watch the series on Netflix when it comes out.
As a video game nerd, as a comic book nerd,
Or
I've
nerd
seen
in
this
general.
or nerd in general, I've seen this movie countless times. My wife and
here.
I, who were still starting out at that time, we were still dating. But
Is
no,
she
but-
a Ramona?
yeah, she's my Ramona.
Oh, that's so cute.
Ramona. Anyway,
Ramona.
she's like my Ramona and Knives Chow all at once, so that makes her.
Pasha.
Special mention. This should absolve me of all the chores that you were planning to make me do.
Wow.
But anyway,
Yes, I love Scott Pilgrim versus the
Me
World. This is
too.
one of my favorite movies. And also from one of my favorite directors. This one came from Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver. and he was clearly having the time of his life adapting this
Last
graphic
night in
novel.
Soho, Misha. You forgot last night.
And Last Night in Soho,
Yeah.
which is painful. But yes, that was a great flick.
Yeah, I'm so happy there. Well, I don't know how involved he's gonna be in the series, but speaking for this movie, it was so much fun. I loved it. Even if I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm not a comic. I haven't read the comic books. I haven't played the game, but just going into it as a movie, I had so much fun that I've watched it countless times as well.
It's just really fun, like it really speaks to a generation. This movie,
Millennials.
millennials who have a lot of issues with trying to express themselves.
And grew up on 8 and 16-bit pixely video games.
Yes.
Yep.
It just takes you back. But watching it again, it's so amusing to see all these actors from more than 10 years ago, 13
Like,
years ago,
holy
to be fact.
shit, the cast.
Correct. They're such babies there. It's like, what the fuck? And
That is true.
if you look at it, okay, at the time, 13 years ago.
Oh my God! Stop mentioning
Like,
13.
holy hell, dude. Come on.
Just putting salt on the wound. It's like 13
Yes,
years ago.
It just proves our mortality.
Jesus
Emphasizes
Christ.
our mortality.
But this insight's not gonna make you feel any younger, but at the time, the cast, besides I guess Michael Cera, who was probably at his peak at the time, besides Brandon Routh and Chris Evans,
You mean peak hipster?
He was peak Michael Cera.
he was peak Michael Cera.
Yeah,
slash
poster
hipster.
boy of hipsters.
Yes, exactly. But everybody else, they were just not really that big yet. Looking at them now, they're big stars like Aubrey Plaza, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson before Captain Marvel, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who Misha just mentioned that I still can't wrap my head around the fact that she's married to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's so weird.
It's
It's very strange considering that she's going to be joining the Star Wars franchise.
Yes, she is.
Going back to a different comic book nerd thing other than Star Wars.
But this cast is just insanely overpowered. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
And
no.
sino pa?
Here's the thing.
Kieran
Here's
Culkin
the-
is now in
Okay.
Succession.
Okay.
Alison Pill.
Yep.
But if this came out now with the same cast, you'd be like, "Holy shit, this is stacked."
It's exactly, but it's
That's
like
the reaction I had hearing the anime announcement. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but-
holy
I mean,
shit.
like,
But
if you
back
think about it,
then,
Universal Studios was like a basketball team drafting rookies who all turned out to be superstars.
I know.
That's true.
But then 13
Like-
years ago, it was chill.
13 years ago, it was
I
like
know.
drafting
Okay
Kobe.
naman, okay lang. Parang they're cool, but they're not like big stars.
Yep.
This is-
You had Aubrey Plaza, you had Anna Kendrick, and even Ellen Wong from Glow.
I
She was
love
Knives
her.
Chow.
She's
what
so
the
hot
actual
now.
hell?
Okay, if you think about this movie, most of them, or maybe half of them, were like the indie movie darlings of that.
Well,
year.
yeah, like Jason Schwartzman is there, so yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes,
get that.
exactly.
Jason Schwartzman.
I
you have
forgot that he existed, I swear.
Michael Cera. You have Aubrey Plaza. Anna Kendrick for a time was an indie darling. I think up until now she is. It's just that she's that big of a name. Kinda. She still does indie work.
Yeah, she still does.
Yeah.
And like Alison Pill, who I absolutely
Oh my God,
recognize as
Alison
well
Pill.
from the newsroom.
Yes.
I'm like, wow,
Yep.
weren't you in a band, you producer lady?
And
Him,
the last
what's-
2 seasons of Star Trek Picard, so which is really weird because why is Alison Pill on Star Trek? But anyways, the point is, all of these people have gone on to bigger and better things. Chris Evans went into some superhero franchise, I hear.
Brie Larson, hello.
Brie Larson went into a superhero franchise, I hear.
Yeah, lot of superheroes, like Anja mentioned.
I don't know anything about superheroes.
Whatever.
Can you see your mug? Can you see your coffee mug right now?
No.
Oh my God, he just brings up his Superman coffee mug. Good job.
Yes, for those of
Round
you
of applause.
who listen, yes.
I'm gonna
Nerd.
take my earbuds and I'm walking away from this conversation.
Nerd! You just held up a Pokeball. Those are earbuds. That's so cool. Can I see?
It's a case.
The case looks
Cute! Pika? Anyway. Okay, anyway, so back to Scott Pilgrim. It's just amazing how successful most of the cast is now. And the fact that despite their busy schedules, they decided to just all come together again for this Netflix anime series.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, you were absolutely right earlier when you said that it shows how much fun they had working on it and how much trust, I guess, they have in Edgar Wright, who is actually going to be the executive producer on this show.
Ooh,
In
there
fact,
you go.
we're not exactly sure if it's going to be a straight up adaptation of the graphic novel because in the announcement, Edgar Wright said that they would be expanding the Scott Pilgrim universe. So I don't know if it's going to be a continuation, adaptation. Is it a sequel to the book? Is it a sequel to the movie? I don't know, but I'm excited.
I'm
And
super
clearly
excited.
the cast is excited too.
If they're going to be expanding the material or the universe of Scott Pilgrim, I want to know, like, Edgar Wright's the director of the movie, but we have to take into account that this was an adaptation of the work of
Right.
the original author Brian Lee O'Malley. So I want to know how big his role will be in this.
I would love to know.
Yeah, should this be something of a sequel, something of a sequel, or somewhat of a sequel, or something of like expanded stories, side stories within the movie?
Or maybe it could even be a continuation of like the Kick-Ass video game because they made a 16-bit video game.
I have it.
The movie,
I have it.
which was re-released on Switch a couple of years ago, and that one took story elements from the movie, but it presented everything as a 16-bit representation of the original graphic novel art. It's the nerdiest thing.
Fun!
It's the best.
And it's like a side-scrolling beat-em up. So it's just so old school, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculously hard, to be
I
honest.
know.
It is. It is.
That's what she said.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
I want to know how far the thirst portion will go.
Oh
for
fuck!
this.
If I get started, it's not gonna end. It's
okay.
it's probably like 50% of the cast, not including
not
Michael
just-
Cera. I'm sorry.
It's not even about how long, Anjo. Sometimes it's the girth.
It's adults listening to this, right? This podcast. Anyway,
I mean, the
It's not even adults recording it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, the movie's is a coming of age story, so I guess so.
okay. Since you brought up the movie, that's why we're going on a throwback episode today, I guess. Let's see.
Yes.
Let's talk about it and let's see if it still holds up to this day, or is it about time for a fresh reboot with the anime series? Let's dive into Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we can start with why the recent news excited so many people. Like, what is it about the Scott Pilgrim versus the World film that people loved so much? Why is it so loved?
I think it's because it spoke to an entire generation of people, millennials. Like this movie
You're
came
not
out.
wrong.
I know, right? I mean, like, it came out at the time where millennials were in college or in high school or graduating or in this very big transition in life, so to speak. Speaking about personal experiences. Alam ko si Nisha graduated much.
Had recently graduated. Okay, you could have added that to the list. Had recently graduated.
But not so recent.
Jackass.
I'm sorry I ruined your drag mind.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, I'm guessing like everything about this movie would speak to an entire generation. Like if people in the 80s had Breakfast Club, we have this, people in the 90s had American Pie.
know
Millennials
what?
have something a little bit smarter.
I think that's the perfect kind of analogy because, of course, you had like your other hipster-specific movies, but this one was like exactly. I think you hit it on the head. It's a coming-of-age movie, like what you would have seen in the 80s and 90s, but it's like 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink if John Hughes had grown up playing video games. I think.
That's right. That's right.
It really, you have to be of that era to understand why it's funny to see a bad guy exploding into coins after you take him out.
They had like all of those broad strokes about what video games would be presented as in a movie, like the Dance Dance Revolution game they were playing.
Yep.
Like you said that thing about people exploding into coins and like super uppercuts and whatever.
Or, getting a do-over in the form of a one-up. Because who the hell even uses the term one-up anymore?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get a life. So witty.
But unfortunately, that specificity, well, that's a hard word to say.
Say it again 10 times.
Specificity. Fuck. That specificity. Fuck.
His specificity. Spittle.
That specificity. I hate this.
Okay. We know
The
what you're
specific nature of the references contained therein.
I have to applaud you with that
People
workaround.
suck. I'm just okay. The specific nature of the references. It alienated a lot of people who didn't grow up with those with that kind of context. Honestly,
Yeah, which
basically you had to be there.
it explains like a majority of its haters are probably a lot more mature than our age, because that's nothing. It's not something they can relate to.
I think it was mostly like Gen X. The Gen X would have found it acceptable, but
Yeah.
the generations previous to that, boomers.
Like when
they
you take out a bad guy, and you hear KO. I mean, I can't explain that to my mother.
Yeah, and the whole treatment, I guess, just made it so much fun. It's not
Yes.
just because it's a story that everybody relates to. It's how everything was wrapped in this pretty video game laced wrapping. That it just makes it so fun, and everything is completely consistent. Like these people, these actors, are acting like they're in actual video games or anime or cartoons. This is not how you would see people act in general in any other movie. So I think it's very unique in that way. It's like seeing an anime but then totoong tao yung pinapanood mo. It's weird, but it's acceptable because they completely own it 100%.
Absolutely. Like if
This
somebody breaks into a run, they got speed lines going on behind them. I mean,
Running like
They run
Naruto
like
or
this.
something. I don't know. But it's just, like, okay, going back to what John Hughes has been doing or any other coming of age movies, sometimes they present it in very, very different ways. Like we've been so used to the love story, guy sees girl, guy finds girl desirable, or girl sees guy. It's the same story over and over again. But what made this movie stand out was how it was packaged. How Edgar Wright was able to marry some of the most outrageous ideas from video games, somehow mash it with a movie and love story of a coming of age story, and turn it into something that's so much fun and sensible. It never does. It doesn't ever lose any sense. If you take out all of the video game aspect, all the visual aspect, all the campy nature of the acting, it's still a coming of age story that revolves around young love, which is why this movie, I think, is so brilliant.
Ramona.
young love in all of its confusion. Honestly,
Yep.
for
And
anyone
baggage.
for anyone who doesn't know, or if you need a refresher, the movie, of course, is about the young man played by Michael Cera. He is Scott Pilgrim, and he has just met the girl of his dreams, who is Ramona Flowers, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The only trouble is he's currently in a relationship with a high school girl who adores him and his band. Knives Chow, played by Ellen Wong. She loves Scott, and she's about to get her heart broken. But Scott, on the other hand, in entering into a relationship with Ramona, is about to find out that he is going to need to fight her 7 evil exes if he wants to win her heart or some shit.
Yeah, I
And
think
the
that's the
movie-
whole video game. That's where the video game aspects come in, that he has to defeat these bosses, kumbaga.
Right.
These
And
bosses.
it escalates.
Yep.
With
So it
increasing difficulty.
yes, with increasing difficulty, aka how much baggage Ramona has with that certain ex.
Like vegan
And-
powers.
Oh my god.
Best.
Okay, so like there's a lot going on in the movie visually because it plays with with things like sound effects, editing, which Edgar Wright's always been fantastic at. Except now he gets to play with like on-screen supers, graphics, and all
Chroma,
sorts
green
of
screen.
references and special effects and other things. I really think if you look back at something like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, honestly, those things were super laid back compared to this. I mean, he edited and shot the shit out of those movies, but here he just elevated to a whole nother level of insanity.
Well,
Super.
his budget was bigger.
That's true.
Also,
But I
around
think
that
he
time,
also-
this superstar cast wasn't that expensive.
Damn!
That's
Can you imagine the
true.
talent fees going into that anime?
You got
Right? I
Oscar
mean, like-
nominees. You got global Golden Globe winners.
You're like, okay, we need to cast someone as Scott Pilgrim's sister. Okay, what's the role? She's gotta be a bitch to him half the time. Okay, cool.
Anna
Get
Kendrick.
Becca. Get Becca from Pitch Perfect. You can't do that. You just can't do that. We need a douchey ex-boyfriend. What's Captain America doing now?
Yeah.
Or we need like a bitchy ex-girlfriend. What's Captain Marvel doing now? Right? This is
Damn.
insane. Insane. This cast.
Yeah. So that's one thing we could bring up as well. The cast was phenomenal and they were so into their characters and all the ridiculousness of the direction of how they're supposed to act. Like the dialogue is, I think this also chalks up to editing, but the dialogue is just so snappy
Yes.
that
Absolutely.
the back and forth is just so quick that it's like your usual movie dialogue sped up. It's like everything is just like so fast paced. The editing, like even down to the dialogue and the facial expressions, the whips, the reaction whips, and the movie, those like little anime lines that go to their faces when they're surprised. All that shit. It's so quick, which makes it so entertaining too.
One of my favorite characters. I like how you mentioned how fast everything is because like one of my favorite characters here is Scott Pilgrim's cool gay roommate,
Kieran
Wallace.
Culkin. I love him. He's my favorite, actually.
He's basically playing Roman Roy like 10 years before Roman Roy was a thing, and you could interchange them and no one would notice. I'm not even kidding. This
That's
guy will
true.
sleep with anything that moves. He's got a sarcastic comment for everything. He doesn't take anything seriously, and he will say one thing to your face and do the exact opposite like 2 seconds later. It's just a joy to watch. He's such a douche.
He
I can
is,
say he's been developing Roman Roy for quite some time, for 13 years now.
and I don't know about you guys, but he's the Culkin sibling I like better.
Well,
but
now-
he didn't marry that girl who lit.
He didn't marry London Tipton.
Thank you. I was thinking, what's the name of the hotel? What's the name of the hotel? I couldn't remember.
Sweet
But
Life
yes.
of Zack and Cody's London Tipton.
Not to be confused with. Oh shit! What was the one for the boat? Ah, fuck it. Never
Sweet
mind.
Life on Deck.
Thank you so much. But
It's disturbing how I know these things.
it's okay. You want to go through like the evil exes because like that's a
Yes.
big part of where the story goes, where each ex represents a different phase in Ramona's life, and Scott beating the crap out of them is kind of like working through her emotional baggage as well.
But okay, I have a teeny tiny bone to pick though about this. Like going through fighting all her exes. Like no issue that Ramona has been dating around a lot. I mean, good for her. She got to explore. Like yes, girl. But my only problem with it is why is it Scott who has to fight all Ramona's exes? Like shouldn't it be her business?
That's super valid, to be perfect.
It is valid. It
Yes.
is valid. But
But yeah, well, why do you have to involve your new partner in your past?
Ju-
Because at the end of the
just-
day, those are
just-
your demons to fight, and your partner doesn't have to prove themselves worthy by defeating all your exes. Like I know, maybe it
Exactly.
was part of them showing that your current relationship is the best one. I don't know, but it's framed in a very damsel in distressy way. When we know
Yes.
Ramona is perfectly capable of fighting herself. But yeah, yun lang. I mean, just thinking about it now, it should be Ramona going over her issues.
I think
That kind of baggage.
I have 2 reasons for that. Reason number 1,
okay.
the movie would not have been as much fun.
Yun nga eh. Kaya nga, that's
That's
my
very
bone to.
shallow.
It's
That-
really
that's-
it's really gonna change everything,
no.
the entire framework of it. But just thinking
Yes.
in a individualistic point of view lang na just thinking about
Yes,
it,
but
it shouldn't be the responsibility shouldn't fall on the other person.
Yes, but reason number 2, coming from, back in 2010, back in those days, also coming from a guy,
days.
coming from a guy, back in those days. Fuck, man, it's 13 years ago. It's just 13 years ago. It's not like,
Bloody hell.
yeah, anyway, forget about 13 years ago. But anyway, coming from a guy and coming from 2010, if you put it in the perspective of 2010, toxic masculinity was more prevalent back then. Okay. And guys who are growing up have a lot of insecurities about exes, for sure. For sure.
People
This is
in
just me,
general,
personally speaking.
it's not just
People
dudes,
in
I
general,
guess.
but
So what are you saying? Speaking as someone who was male in 2010, what you're gonna go out and beat up all your
no,
wife's
it
exes?
doesn't necessarily mean you have to beat up people's exes, but you still try to one up the ex.
No. Here's the thing: the
It's
movie
a
tries to
metaphor,
paint
we
it.
know.
The movie tries to paint it as a noble undertaking that even Knives cheers him on at the end. She's all like, "This is what you were fighting for," and I think I'm with Mai on this one because this just ends up not only is he taking care of her emotional baggage and her dirty laundry, he's taking care of all of that. He's also like where he's coming from is that he's fighting for a prize, and I don't like that. That Ramona is a prize that needs to be won.
Yeah, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. It's just that, okay, here's the thing. Not a lot of people who've seen the movie know this, but people who've read the book know this, which I hate doing. But this is one of the biggest changes they've made to a story because they've changed the ending completely for the general public.
That is true.
Ooh,
In the
okay.
book, I hate doing these things because,
But you're gonna do it anyway, so stop
I'll do it.
disclaiming.
okay, in the book, Scott actually ends up with knives and he realizes
Right.
it after he fights Nega Scott, which
That's right.
which changes the whole dynamic of the argument because it shows actual growth of the character.
I see.
They don't go
That's true.
with a storybook ending. They didn't go with the mass market ending, which I'm guessing tested better with the audiences. That's why that's the ending they chose to
That's
go
true.
with.
Yeah, they had to justify everything he'd been through up to that point, I guess.
Edgar Wright actually shot the alternate ending, the true ending,
Right.
I like
which
that better though.
which up until now has never been released, unless I haven't bought DVDs in a long time, unless there's this like 10-year anniversary.
DVDs, what are those?
I don't know. Misha still collects DVDs.
Fuck you! I collect Blu-rays. You go to hell.
Oh wait, same
Wow,
thing. It's still a
Blu-ray.
disc. It's still a disc. Anyway, have they released anything on Blu-ray?
Yes, they have,
No,
you jackass.
No, with the alternate ending. I just want to know because I want to watch it. I want to see how it
Oh
goes.
yeah, that would be
Um,
interesting.
Yes, the alternate ending is on the Blu-ray. So yes, they have like a whole section of
Oh.
deleted scenes there that you can check out. But I get what you're saying about the whole typical Hollywood ending because that's like a lot of adaptations. This isn't the first one to do that. Even something like even like a Stone Cold classic like Breakfast at Tiffany's completely changed the depressing as all hell ending, where the prostitute and the man whore go their separate ways. Because to anyone who is watching this in the 21st century, if you don't know that Breakfast at Tiffany is about a prostitute and a man whore, then I don't know what's wrong with you, seriously. But yeah, audiences like to see people end up together, and that's what happened here. Scott ends up with Ramona, and Knives is happy to be on her own, happier than I think she should be. But that's the way the movie ends now.
I don't know. If I were Knives, I'd be like, oh fuck you, you cheated on me, bye. But I get
what-
how it would be cute well, hindi naman cute, but I get how it would really show development in Scott's character, wherein he just ends up with Knives instead. I understand.
But
too.
the way the movie's cut now, it's Knives who grows up. She's the
Yeah.
one with emotional growth.
That's
Yeah.
why I didn't understand, coming from the books, I didn't understand the purpose of fighting Nega Scott to get Ramona. Because the whole purpose of fighting Nega Scott is your character growth, is Scott Pilgrim's character growth.
Right.
into
But in the
realizing-
movie, they
but
end
in
up
the
hanging
movie-
out together.
which is weird.
It
I
was.
see.
So
see.
I think part of it comes from a wish fulfillment point of view as well. I mean, if Scott is supposed to be the avatar of, like, you know, people who came of age playing those video games and watching all those movies and doing all those nerdy things, then part of that wish fulfillment would be, you know, using all your nerdy knowledge to save the day, to getting the girl at the end of your quest, and maybe doing things that aren't exactly kosher, like, you know, in this case, cheating on your high school girlfriend,
That's so gross, though. She's so
and then being forgiven and even encouraged. All of this within a 2-week period, right? It's like it's extreme wish fulfillment.
Mm.
which is why the movie is still great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there was just this. If you
There's a
previously
disconnect,
read the book,
yeah.
there was just one disconnect. If you're familiar with the
I see.
original material,
I see.
Also, who would fight over Michael Cera?
Knives.
I mean, like,
Also,
really?
Also, another thought. So, if that's how the world works, that you have to fight your current person's exes, edi sobrang kawawa nung first ex lagi. Ilang beses na siya natalo, guys.
That means everybody who came after beat his ass.
Exactly. So everyone after the first one just shows that, oh, you've beaten the first person multiple times.
You feel so bad for Matthew Patel.
Oh, Matthew
Oh,
Patel.
ano.
Wala lang, if that's how the world works. But I get it, fine. I'm not gonna shit on the entire movie because of that framing. It's just maybe looking at it now, and I guess being a bit more mature and thinking that, okay, these are your issues. These are things you should tackle. It just didn't make sense at this point in time of my maturity.
No, it's entirely valid. But
It's valid, pero you probably fought Negamai at some point.
oh my
For you
god.
to realize that.
I'm still fighting with her. That bitch. That bitch is a pain in the ass.
I have another read on it. What if the whole thing about Ramona as a trophy, as a prize to be won, what if that's an extension of the whole, that's just the whole video game analogy coming full circle? Because maybe it's not just the trappings of a video game that are here, but like the actual story itself. Like, think about it. Like, those old Super Mario games were like you going through 8 different castles
To find
the
Princess Peach.
princess.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, you would always miss her just by a couple of minutes because she had to go on to the next one. You had to fight the next boss and the next boss.
Yeah, I understand that framework naman. That's how it works as a whole video game concept. But just personally speaking.
But if no, I think you're entirely right. Because, like, if I had to, you know, why would you want to end up with someone who needs rescuing? That just sounds like work.
or
That
parang,
sounds like
oh, you have all these exes. I have to fight. Pass. I have to fight fucking Captain America.
the way-
Pass.
Well, he wasn't Captain America then yet. He's still on a skateboard.
fine. I'm gonna have to fight the Human Torch. Pass.
Okay.
I have to fight that guy from Not Another Teen Movie with whipped cream on his junk. Pass.
Okay, you guys realize that
Not
she at
fight
one
him,
point
but-
dated twins.
Yeah, you're not gonna fight him. Tell us, what will you do to him? He shows up in your house right now wearing whipped cream. What are you gonna do to him, Mai? Teach him a
What do you
lesson.
think I'm gonna do, idiot?
Introduce him to your mom.
At one point Ramona Flowers dated twins, right? Didn't he have to fight like
Yes,
twin
he
Jays
did.
with dragons? Who
Oh,
just like one of the twins?
yeah.
The Katayanagi twins.
They were
That was
so
pretty fucking
cool.
cool, though.
They were so
They were
cool.
cool. Yes, they did the whole Multiverse of Madness music fight before Multiverse of Madness.
And like the dragons.
Yes, they did. They did. That
The
was very
dragons that
cool.
came out of the sound bars and stuff. That's so
It
cool.
was very cool. I do not think Sex Babam should have won that fight.
No.
Like,
And-
no way.
And there is
I
a
don't think
reason
he
why
would have won
Envy
the
Adams' band is more
fight.
popular than Sex Babam. Okay, that is a fire song. Black Sheep is
Yes.
such a good song.
And Clash at Demon Head is the name of a classic Nintendo game, just for more nerdiness.
Ah, nerdy stuff.
I didn't,
I
I,
mean,
I
like-
didn't know that.
It's such a nerdy thing, I swear.
How old is the game?
I don't even know. I've never actually seen it in real life.
Lies.
Shy.
You are on a roll with.
I know,
with
right?
the
I'm just gonna keep
Misha
quiet
jokes.
here.
I love you, Misha.
I'm just gonna keep quiet here.
Okay, so let's pick back up where Misha said, let's go through the X's, which sounds like something fun. So, okay,
God. It's 7.
let's start with the most defeated one.
Matthew
Oh.
Patel. I'm
Poor
sorry.
guy.
I know.
Poor dude.
And coming from the backstory, oh, and I love how they still use the art from the graphic novels
Yes.
in this movie to
Yes.
to show the flashbacks. That's pretty
Mhm,
cool.
mhm. It
But
was.
yeah.
It was.
Considering that Matthew Patel was like the most beaten up ex because he's the first,
Poor bastard.
he still had a fucking cool fight. You know, he
Yeah.
had like these summoning all these like
Because he has powers.
they all have powers. Actually, they all have powers. One had vegan powers, which he lost. Anyway, Matthew Patel was fucking cool. He would summon like these bat demon digital things, 16-bit things. I don't know what you call them, like bat
And-
demons.
And that guy looks like he has moves.
He did, and they,
Dance moves
like
too.
it was kind of cool how you're so limited with a graphic novel. Like you see still photos, you don't hear anything, but somehow Edgar Wright manages to pull this off with some Bollywood flair.
I know.
That's fucking brilliant. One of the best opening fight scenes.
Yeah.
Not bad for the most bug dude.
Right.
Still a good opening if ever it were to open up this world. The first boss is still really memorable for you because that's the first fight you have to fight. And it was, as a viewer, it's super entertaining still.
And he was played by that guy from New Girl. He was whatchamajname? He was CC's fiance on New Girl.
No!
Yes!
What?
No!
Yes!
Are
I,
you shitting me?
I don't
I'm
remember his
Googling
name.
that.
Somebody
I'm
Google this
Googling
shit.
that.
Wait.
I'm Googling
Okay, I got
I
it.
don't
Hold on.
believe you.
Holy shit, he
That's him?
blew
Yes?
up.
Is it him? It's him?
No way.
What the hell's his name? Here we go. Satya Babha. Yes, that's him.
He was Shivrang?
I'm telling you!
He blew
This cast,
up.
this cast is
He
stacked.
blew up.
I know why.
And it's the eyeliner and the hair from Scott Pilgrim.
And,
Yeah,
and the frumpy
it's the hair.
pirate clothes.
Yeah.
True.
Damn.
Yes, he's the guy. When I saw it for the rewatch, I was like, holy crap!
I don't think it's the eyeliner. I think it's really just the emo hair.
And I think the fact that everyone in this movie still has baby fat compared to now.
True.
Oh yeah, well.
Okay.
The,
He looks like the
next
typical
evil
scene
X-
kid though.
The next evil X, though, had no baby fat to speak of.
Who's the
Mhm.
next one? I'm trying to remember.
Lucas Lee,
Oh.
Hollywood bad boy, played by
Captain
Chris
America.
Evans. Oh my god! Can I just say I love it when Chris Evans plays douches.
Me too. He is so effective as a douchebag.
Oh,
Even though, in real life, he's such a sweet guy. Parang alam ko, no? As if alam ko. Pero,
It's
I mean,
okay.
what he portrays, Chris Evans portrays, he's like such a sweet dude. Or like
I
Captain
won-
America. But like,
I wonder-
he's so fun as a douche.
I wonder if as Lucas Lee, he had to wear prosthetic eyebrows.
I
That's
think
what.
so.
Like, seriously, parang siyang dalawang higad nag-aaway.
It was, no, hindi. It was parang dalawa siyang higad at an angle. Nag-aaway. Find a picture, find a picture online, show it to people, and tell me that those aren't two higads fighting at an angle.
I was gonna say, useless information. When I was doing my nerd romp through North America last year, we actually drove past Casa Loma, which is the only like legit castle in North America that was used in Scott Pilgrim as the site where Lucas Lee was shooting his castle. And I even saw the steps where he grinded down the rail and, fucking exploded at the end. And I was like, that's so cool. Because apparently it's a very popular filming location in Toronto.
I see. And I love how he goes out. It's just pure ego.
Yes. I like that they don't even show a close up. He just dies like in the distance and you don't care.
It's just because, I can do this better than you. Okay.
Well, if it's too hardcore for you, you don't have to. My goodness, I'm sorry, but Chris Evans is an amazing asshole. I love it. I love it so much.
Lucas Lee is the epitome of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yes,
probably.
But also more of the nerd stuff. Remember, his skateboard is named Mithril, just for more nerdiness.
Wow.
I mean, like, seriously, if you're gonna name Captain America's skateboard after Elven Chainmail from Lord of the Rings, you got some serious nerd cred. Okay, so the next Evil X is Todd Ingram, played by one-time Superman Brandon Routh.
Oh, that's so mean.
Well, it's
fine.
true.
He was a two-time Superman. He was also on the TV crossover in Arrowverse. But, what else can I say he done? Okay, he was like the Atom on Legends of Tomorrow, but still.
He played Dylan Dog. That's this Italian version of like John Constantine.
Was that okay?
No.
I feel though he's one of the most memorable exes because of his vegan powers.
Yeah,
vegan powers.
That's all I have.
That's so stupid.
It's so fucking hilarious. Like it's even more hilarious that Brian Lee O'Malley and Edgar Wright wrote up a character making fun of vegans. I don't have anything against vegans. It's just like sometimes they can.
You can't because they're vegetarians. They're better than us.
I didn't say that.
They did.
Insert cricket noises there. No.
But what I love is also the concept that goes along with it. So if you're a vegan, you have superpowers. But there's also the vegan police who keeps you in check.
and one of them is the Punisher. Thomas Jane. I'm like, what the shit? The Punisher is a vegan police.
So random lang eh.
It's like, just to make sure you're using your powers responsibly. There's a whole judicial system for vegans.
And he's all like, don't I get 3 strikes? Then they enumerated every time he had dairy.
It's not even that they're making fun of. I mean, like, it's not that I have anything against vegans. It's just sometimes they can be annoying.
It's because like vegans subscribe to the Reverse Fight Club. They gotta tell you all about it, whether you want to hear it or not.
No, I think
I feel like
it doesn't reflect them. It doesn't reflect all the vegans I know, but it's more of the fact that much of them are saying they're better. They're better people than you are because you're in a way being vegan will save the world.
I feel like being vegan is just so difficult that it's similar to when you work so hard at the gym and you can't help but just flex your muscles and show off your bod because you worked so hard on it. I feel like it's that. Like, I worked so hard on this. Like, it's so difficult to be a vegan, so I have to tell you about it.
I don't know. It's really not. It's hard in the
Sige nga, maging vegan ka. Let's see if you get powers.
Basta any excuse for me to get powers, go. But I don't know.
Starting now.
Okay. Because for a time, Posh couldn't have dairy. So we found this great vegan pizza place that we would get from when she couldn't have dairy when she was breastfeeding. But masarap siya. I'm not kidding. It's good vegan.
Good for you.
But all those vegan options are more expensive by default most of the time.
That's why, if you know how to cook, not necessarily. But mahirap sa Pilipinas considering the vegan recipes you would find online.
And it's pricey as fuck, man.
Yeah.
So expensive to be
but let's go
vegan.
back to the vegan in question. So Todd Ingram, played by Brandon Routh, he is actually, his character is in a relationship with Scott Pilgrim's ex-girlfriend who broke his heart epically, Envy Adams, played by Brie Larson, who I think deserves a mention now.
Yes. I love her. Well, not just Brie Larson, but I loved Envy Adams.
Yes.
She just had this perpetual bitch face.
It was so fucking effective, you know.
Absolutely.
It was a far cry from her character in 21 Jump Street, who was such a sweetheart.
Yep.
And then you see her as Envy Adams, be like,
It's like, the hell?
the hell is happening?
She totally rocked
in
it.
this fight, though, I would never have believed that Scott would have won by himself.
Yeah.
I
How would
agree.
he have won with just playing bees while freaking vegan Superman was ripping off,
Vegan
was
Superman.
riffing like all these riffs with his bass.
Yeah.
It was a base battle.
But that was one of the parts that I remember because it was so funny because, you know, vegan Superman's an asshole. He knocks out Knives Chow. He knocks
He knocks the blue out of her head!
He knocked out her highlights.
He knocked her highlights out of her head.
He punched the blue out of her hair!
I love this movie so much.
I don't know. I wouldn't know how in the world people would think up of that line to put in a movie.
He punched the blue out of her
So
hair.
ridiculous, but you accept it anyway.
The fact that Gavin included in the graphic novel, which was originally published in black and white, makes it even funnier. The comic book only started to be published in color like 2-3 years ago, but when this book came out, it was straight up black and white. So we had to take their word for it that he punched the blue out of her hair.
Or whatever Ramona Flowers' hair was the color that season.
I change my hair like every 2 weeks.
How damaged is that hair? God.
I don't know. It probably
I was gonna
snaps
ask
off.
that. I was actually going to ask that question.
Hmm.
Maybe it's a wig.
Yeah,
Just Natalie Portman.
Some of her wigs were better than others in this movie, though.
True.
Yeah.
It gets quite inconsistent. Especially those 2 long strands in front.
Like,
They
oh my
change
God.
lengths.
Mm.
Like 1 minute it's kind of short and then it gets long really quick and then it gets short again. I don't know.
But honestly, like being with Deng all this time, I can honestly tell you that the whole hair color thing, it's such a high maintenance thing.
I know.
So
I tried it.
I get why the filmmakers would want to keep it simple, especially if they weren't shooting this thing in chronological order. So your hair needs to be this color for this scene and this color for that scene. And we don't have the budget or technology to do it in the computer yet. So we got you some wigs.
But the wigs weren't cut the same.
They were cut like motorcycle helmets, my motorcycle helmets.
I guess it's literally the only inconsistent thing in this movie because everything else just checks out. It's just so put together, except for the hair.
Okay, so that's 3 evil exes down. That's Matthew Patel, that's Lucas Lee, that's Todd Ingram. Now we go on to Roxy Richer, who is played by Mae Whitman, who I almost fell out of my chair when I realized that Roxy, played by Mae Whitman. Mae Whitman was actually the little daughter of the president in Independence Day.
Fuck
And
that shit.
And I was like, how old am I that I even made that reference to begin with? But she's
The
also
other reference, the younger reference would be she's
the
in
voice
Avatar.
of Katara in Avatar. who
I
is
like
my
how-
favorite character.
I like how you would describe the character of Roxy Richter. Richter?
Richter?
Richter.
It's not Richter?
Richer. It's Richer.
It's
R-I-T.
Richter?
Yeah, it's not Richter. It's weird.
Richter. Richard Cutter. Rich Cutter.
Anyway.
Roxy.
Roxy
Roxy.
is who you would call the bi-furious half ninja.
By Furious. I laughed my ass off the first time I heard that line.
Because, she really is furious.
Yeah.
She's so angry in this movie. She just attacks Scott out of nowhere. Maybe that's why she's called a ninja.
And the way that Scott takes her out is with some information that Ramona remembers from their time together, where her weak spot is behind her knee.
Sounds like a good time.
But it doesn't really go down like a weak spot, does it?
The one thing I remember from this fight is when she gets a punch. She takes a punch from Scott, and she just goes, "You punched me in the boob." It's like, yo, did I just hear that right?
I'm
sorry. This movie is the best. Like, wow.
Sub-Auteurs is a podcast that does not advocate violence against women.
But okay, speaking of that, this is actually the only fight where you see Ramona showing what she's got with that cool mallet of hers.
That's true. From her Mary Poppins bag.
Yeah, because Scott couldn't fight girls. He's like, I'll fight girls. So it ended up Ramona fighting Roxy at some point.
That's true.
But okay, sure.
I got questions though. One, is that inappropriate touching? Because I don't think that was consensual. Because that was not a weak spot. That was another kind of spot.
Okay, if you fight, then it's automatically not consensual because you're fighting.
So
okay, fine. Fine. Okay, so nandun na tayo. We agree. Scott Pilgrim touched Roxy inappropriately. I don't think Roxy hated it too much though. But here's another thing that the internet pointed out, and I will never unsee.
You and your algorithms.
No. So she's like wearing stockings, right? Roxy is wearing stockings for this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Those stockings got holes behind the knees. So she knows her weak spot too.
Easy access.
Damn it, internet.
I gotta watch it again.
I'm gonna watch it again.
I did not notice that.
Stupid internet.
I'm watching this movie again.
Well,
herbs.
Right.
Dun dun.
They're still going.
That should be at the beginning of this show.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Okay.
Hey,
Next up, we have a twofer. We got the Kateyanagi twins.
Coolest fight.
Played by a couple of Japanese guys. I'm sorry, I got nothing on those two. I tried.
Yeah, I've
did
never
we see
seen
them after this movie?
No. That was the first and the last I've seen.
And most people remember them for what they did, not for who they were.
Yeah, it was one of the
They were actual twins, right? Like,
yes, they were played by Keita Saito and Shota Saito. But if you ask me what else they've been in, I got nothing.
Same.
Sayang.
I mean, yeah, it would have been interesting if we saw them somewhere else, but
oh well.
The most interesting thing they did, I guess, is fight with music dragons. That was
freaking awesome.
And they actually didn't have lines.
Yeah, they were.
No, they did not.
I'm trying to remember.
They spoke with music.
Musical dragons.
I think this is the sequence that's most graphics heavy, though.
Yeah,
because it wasn't a fist fight. That's actually how you see that it escalates. Because first X's were all hand-to-hand combat, but this is where there are teams involved. So the whole sex bomb actually helps Scott try to defeat these two. And I do agree with Misha. Sex bomb should not have won that fight.
Fucking A, no.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. Like in anime, it's the power of friendship that wins the day.
Oh my god. So you're saying those twins weren't friendly enough with each other?
No, but then Scott had more friends. It's 2-on-4.
Right, I guess.
Numbers game.
Yes.
Numbers game. It's like the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, so let's just do a roundup. So you got Matthew Patel. He was the first one. You got Lucas Lee, played by Captain America. You got Todd Ingram, played by Superman. You got Roxy Richer, played by Katara. And the Kateyanagi twins, who were in this movie. The last evil X, number 7, is Gideon Graves. He is played by Jason Schwartzman, who was and probably still is somewhere an indie darling to the world. This actually might be the most mainstream thing I've ever seen him in.
That's true, though.
Yeah, but even Scott Pilgrim is kind of indie,
I guess.
not indie. You know,
So
it's
what do you guys
freaking
think of
hipster.
him?
Well, being the OP boss that he was typical OP boss. Overpowered.
He was very overpowered.
But yes, Gideon is probably the biggest boss, or like probably the ex that Ramona still has the most hang-ups for. Which actually
Right.
also raises the question now of these levels, are they according to chronological order, or is it by intensity of how Ramona is not over them? Because that doesn't always mean chronological.
Shit, that's a
Yes,
good question.
that's a very good question because I've been thinking about that.
I
Not
think
naman
it's
in the past
chronological.
13 years, pero
No, but I think it's chronological because she's still working out her shit with Gideon, and she's the final boss. She seemed to have mostly been meh over Matthew Patel because he was like back in grade school or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think they are chronological.
what about the people in between?
Yeah,
Doesn't
because there could be like, there's this big X and sometimes there's a rebound after, but you're
There you
still
go.
really...
That's what I wanted to.
Right, because Roxy was just a phase.
Yes.
This actually makes sense. We should ask her. We should
It's an
ask
interesting
her.
question. It's
That
something
down.
that we can revisit the movie and the books for.
Mm,
We're gonna tag Brian Lee O'Malley and we'll ask directly. That'll be
Yeah.
cool.
That would be so cool if he responds to this, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or he'll
Either
be
way,
like, I
lugi pa
answered
rin
that
si Matthew
13
Patel.
Please sign my books.
He'll be like, I
Yeah.
answered this question 13 years ago. Come on, you guys.
Matthew Patel always gets the short end of the stick.
Because he's the first and, didn't mean anything to her. Aw.
Still
Oh,
a cool
shit, right.
Bollywood
Yeah.
fight sequence, though.
Yeah, I still thought he was so cool. But anyway.
He was.
So, okay,
It was
big
sad.
fight with Gideon. This actually causes a rift between Scott and his band because Gideon is actually an owner of a label who decides to sign
right.
Sex Bomb. And the
Right.
friends are like, yeah, we've been dreaming of this ever since we started the band. So they go with Gideon. But Scott, of course, is reluctant.
Mm-hmm. And they end up like signing with his sub, Young Neil. who
Young
is-
Neil! Young Neil! God,
I know. Love that name. I'm sorry.
who had the biggest crush on Knives? It's actually cute. And I think they were trying to ship Knives and Young Neil together.
I thought Knives was just doing that to make him jealous.
Yeah, but then...
Yeah.
but they tried, I guess, at some point.
There. But yes. And like they said, like even Scott himself says in the movie, you're a man now. I think we can just call you Neil. Oh my goodness.
What are your feelings about this big boss fight at the end?
I'm not gonna lie. I like the earlier fights better than the fight with Gideon at the end. I don't know if it's because Jason Schwartzman just sucks at fight choreography and they had to work with what they had. But I enjoyed the shit out of the fight with Chris Evans and the one with Brandon Routh. Heck, even the one with Roxy had more intensity. And coming off the super high of the Katianaki twins with the music battle, we just get this, super stylized sword fight that just, he has to cheat to win. So
Well, what made it more fun was, you had Ramona and Knives joining in on the fight. But then
that was more intense than the fight between, the movie's hero and the big bad. And I'm gonna say it right now, like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she wasn't even all that great in her fight, but she was trying at least. Jason Schwartzman was hiding behind the editing.
That's because he's an indie sweetheart. He's not like...
Judgy.
He's used to being in perfectly framed shots.
Yes.
From, what's this director's name?
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson
Oh my
movies.
God.
Yeah.
He's like, if Chris Nolan has like Cillian Murphy, Jason Schwartzman is like the mascot or the muse of Wes Anderson.
With all due apologies to Bill Murray. Yeah, I get
Find
that,
one
I
of the
get that.
staples of Wes Anderson. So yun nga, he's not effective if he's not in a perfectly asymmetrical frame.
So maybe he really wasn't like meant to be like action guy, then maybe he shouldn't have been the last bad guy. Maybe not.
I think this is more of a battle because this last battle, quote unquote, was incredibly wordy. So I think it's more of like showing how emotionally manipulative Gideon is, or manipulative in general, because he was also using Scott's band as leverage.
Right.
So I think it's more of that kind of battle, because that's where the feelings creep up now, and out comes Nega Scott too during this battle. So
like in classic video game,
Yep. You have
big
to fight
bad
yourself at
speech,
the end.
right?
Yeah, in classic video game lore, like if you perform really well, you get a secret boss battle.
Yeah, and you have to, and it turns out to be yourself.
Ready, fight. Like Reptile in the first Mortal Kombat, you'd have to unlock him at some point.
Yeah.
Gideon
So
there
does that
is.
make Nega Scott the big boss? I guess so.
Yes,
Yeah, but
it does.
they settled their shit. They're gonna get brunch next week.
I like the. That's so fucking random. But
know.
I like the fact that it's an introspective that's presented that way. You have to battle your inner
Yes.
demons for you to grow up, or address something about yourself
But
for you to be a better person.
But like you said earlier, I think our problem with it thematically is that it becomes a by the way. They just brush it aside for a one-liner gag about getting brunch. He never really confronts his inner demon, or at least not in any meaningful way that we are shown. It becomes a punchline, like, oh, it's so good. He's actually kind of cool. We have a lot in common. Michael Cera. Yes.
Nigga Scott. There were these times when, throughout the course of Pasha and I dating, when Ed gets so mad that she rarely sees it, she calls me Nega Joe. And she got it from Scott Pilgrim.
What the hell is Joe?
Calls me.
Joe.
Oh my God, I'm so slow. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Your brains really are fried today.
I'm so sorry.
Or Misha's brain is just on Pentium 3 at this point.
Oh my God.
What the shit?
Everyone's running on the Unreal Engine. Misha's on Pentium.
No.
Di mo lang Windows Vista. We're old, guys. We're old.
You people suck so
We're
bad.
so old with these references.
Misha, matuwa ka na lang na hindi pa rin MS-DOS.
You're so funny.
Or 6-bit. Like this movie
mother.
has a lot
Eight
of...
naman, 8. It's in
All right,
multiples of 8. I'm
16
that old,
naman
I
tong
know that.
movie.
Oh, okay, sorry.
16, yes. And the video game.
Sorry. I love that
Are you
intro.
doing an 8-bit version or like a Minion version?
Well,
I'm just checking.
Same studio anyway. Universal.
Okay.
But, I like that they use the universal fanfare when Chris Evans first shows his face.
Yeah, it's a lot of, things you get away with because of the treatment, which I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now that it's going to be a show, I cannot wait to see what the hell that'll look like.
Yeah, and I hope also we get more of the music. Well, obviously, hopefully we will, because of Scott's in a band. And the soundtrack is actually pretty good. Like we said earlier, Metric's Black Sheep was pretty epic. And although I actually really like the Brie Larson version better.
That
Same.
actually surprised me. I did not know she could do that.
Yeah.
She could sing. That was I was pleasantly surprised that she could sing.
I don't know. I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna lie.
Wait. Why didn't Ramona have to fight Envy?
Because
That would have been cool.
Huntress versus Captain Marvel.
I think they did in the book, right?
Did they?
I think Ramona fought Envy in the book because like Envy was like more of a bitch in the book.
Oh, she was more of a bitch in the book.
And like to the point that like I think that was my only thing that I didn't like about Brie Larson. Like she didn't have the red hair because like even if the comic was black and white, Brian Lee O'Malley said that he based Envy on Asuka from like Neon Genesis Evangelion. So she was like an angry redhead. That's why he drew her hair that way also.
That's a good reference.
She was an angry redhead. But Brie Larson, I like what she did with it. She owns it. I'm glad she's coming back for the show.
Yes, me too. And I hope she sings again because who knew she had an angelic
Yeah,
voice.
but that brings me to why I didn't
I really
get hung up on her singing, because I was more amazed that she could stand in those shoes.
Oh,
But
and there's
in
an
Denver-
outtake of her falling over on stage, and it looked painful.
The shoes look painful. I mean, like if you see the entire outfit, the shoes look like they were the worst
Yeah,
boots.
my God.
Yes.
So we've run down through the excess and the movie in general. So knowing how it ended, Hollywood style, what are your hopes for this anime coming up? That may be
Well,
something that we can get off the movie to the anime, since we're using the original actors as the voice actors.
I'm legit hoping that we get a full adaptation of the graphic novel, because I don't think anyone wants to see Ramona and Scott's children attending grade school.
I agree.
Fuck that.
That's not a show I want to watch.
No,
No.
I would prefer an expanded narrative. Like the movie can give us so much, can only give us so much in 2 hours. I want
How
to
about
see
every episode is like a solo episode of one of the exes?
Yeah, that
that
could
could
work.
be it. That could work. That could work. Like expand, like they said, expand the universe. So I get,
Right,
right. It's a very broad statement. We don't know what could happen. We don't know if it's, gonna
Yeah, but-
show us, give us more about the characters. We don't know if it's gonna be a sequel.
The crazy thing is, we don't know when the show's actually coming out, because they've only just announced it, that it was greenlit as of March 2023. They had just announced that it's going to get made. They didn't say when it's coming out or whatever. I just hope they get it done before Netflix runs out of money.
I have
So
a question.
At least one season done before, the streaming war consumes us all.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Will the Netflix thumb turn into like an 8-bit noise or whatever?
I have no idea. I've never actually seen
I don't know.
a thumbnail like that before. Just plain text on a gray background. It looks so sad. If you try
Yeah.
searching for Scott Pilgrim on
Yep.
Netflix right now, that's all you get.
That's exactly what showed up when I tried looking it up.
Yeah.
And they should actually put the movie, well, I don't know for other countries, but for our local Netflix, with that hype that they're already giving this anime, they should put the movie back in there. That'll definitely get some streams for people who want to look back on it.
But it's
AKA
on
me.
HBO Go. It's on HBO Go.
But it's a better opportunity for Netflix.
Yeah, but they can't show it at the same time as the other channel because rights and shit.
But Spider-Man and Disney Plus have been doing.
Yeah,
but they had to take it. They took No Way Home. Sorry,
Way Off.
they took Far From Home off of Netflix. That's why they
Oh.
could put it on Disney Plus. They can't have it at the same
Oh.
time.
Boo.
Oh.
Different regions have different rights agreements.
Stupid rules.
Yeah, well.
Then Netflix should work harder. That would be so good for their
That's why
streams.
like shows like Supergirl and Arrow and Riverdale and Star Trek Discovery are on Netflix in every country except in every continent except North America, because they're on like Paramount Plus, on the CW, they're on Peacock, but outside North America they're all on Netflix. So it really depends what country you're watching the shit in.
Boo.
But in any case, it's on HBO Go. So if you want to check out the movie,
Yes, and
It's
catch
on
up
HBO Go.
before the animated series hits, or if you want to just grab a copy of the graphic novel, it shouldn't be too difficult to find. It's now available in color, so yeah, go for it.
I
I
want to
was-
buy that.
I want to borrow Misha's DVD and see that alternate ending.
Same.
Blu-ray.
I never got the
DVD.
chance.
Although
Yes.
wala na akong DVD player kasi napaka...
I still have
Blu-ray.
my PlayStation that plays Blu-ray, so I can
Yes.
watch it.
Alrighty then. So that is our little throwback to one of our favorite movies from 2010, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So let us know your thoughts. Do you feel the same? Did you love it? Did you find it cringy? Maybe then in that case you're probably a boomer. Or, any of your
Most likely a
thoughts.
boomer. Most
I
likely a
don't-
boomer.
I don't think boomers even listen to this fucking podcast, so whatever.
What is a podcast?
Exactly. What is a Spotify? What is an Apple podcast or Google podcast where you can find Sub-Auteurs and listen to it?
Where can I bust Spotify?
So yes, we're available on all podcast platforms. Please subscribe if you enjoy our episodes and follow us on social media. We have a Facebook group where you can share your thoughts, random memes, or news about movies. It's Sub-Auteurs. We like movies. And we also have an official Facebook page, Sub-Auteurs. And we have TikTok and Instagram at Sub-Auteurs Podcast. So we hope to see you in the future episodes. And we hope you enjoyed this one.
Hello again, friend of a friend.
Pick a song, jeez.
Hindi kami aligned.
Hindi kayo align sa kakanta sa closing song natin. Okay, this has been the Sub-Auteurs. I'm Mai.
I'm Misha.
That's Anjo, who sounds like a minion. Oh my god, yes. This is not Despicable Me, okay?
Illumination.
Thank you for bearing with this stupidity. And we hope you...
Maturity.
Bye-bye.
13 years ago.
Game over.
KO. Wait, I gotta do this because I wanted to do this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one is for Mai. Okay.
Wait. Are we pausing this for that? Are we?
I don't know yet. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
You can. Okay.
Say sorry
Now.
to PV first.
I love you, PV. I'm sorry, but this should be fun. Okay. 7 evil exes. Fuck, marry, kill. First one, Matthew Patel. Go, Mai.
What? Huh?
Fuck, marry, kill. Matthew Patel.
What are the other two options?
And the Katianagi twins.
Do they count as one or two? Daming tanong.
Good question. Fine, let's do that again. Fine. Okay.
Is this a
Here we
package
go.
deal?
You did not think this through, Misha.
No, I did not, clearly. Fine. Let's do that again. Okay. Fast talk for Mai. Here we go. 7 evil exes. Fuck, marry, kill. Matthew Patel, Lucas Lee, and Todd Ingram.
I might marry Patel. Just so he's not so kawawa. Joke lang.
Wow, it's the pity.
Wow, it's a pity
No.
marriage.
Actually,
That's
now that
so
I think
bad.
about it, he seems like the most fun because I cannot absolutely tolerate the veganness and the douchiness of the other two. So
That's
hindi
a
siya
good answer.
pity. So in my books, he wins.
So Mary out.
Yeah.
I see. Who are we killing?
Which one is more? Can I tolerate a vegan more or a douche more? Because they're both. Never mind.
Here's the thing.
Anja, stop saying here's the thing.
Ito. Bobo yung dalawa eh.
Translate.
Wait. Sige, wait. Just think about this. They're both airheads.
Exactly. But if it's more of a question of who I want to fuck more.
Which is a valid concern.
Oh, ito.
They're both hot.
I want you to think really hard about this.
Okay, wait. Okay, fine. Kill Lucas because baka mapakinabangan ko yung vegan powers.
Alam mo ba? Ito yung sasabihin kasi eh. The vegan can fly. Imagine how interesting that would be. He can levitate. Imagine sex while levitating.
Okay, this is so not PG. I don't know if it's gonna make the episode.
No, but imagine, yeah, man.
This is what you want from your sexual experience, Anjo? Flight?
I never thought about that, TBA.
Dude,
Neither did I.
think about it.
Well, we are now.
It's like, what would that feel like if you could have sex midair?
I think Anjo should be answering this question.
How do you watch Superman movies, Anjo? When he's doing the whole new world thing with Lois Lane, is this what you're thinking? Gee, I hope they do it in the sky.
It's just
Over, sideways,
now.
and under.
It's just now that you've played this game, then I realized, oh, you can have sex while flying.
Okay, just thinking about it now, with or without vegan powers, because we could also consider how he's been under the
Empowered.
surveillance of the vegan
The
police.
vegan police.
He's been de-veganized.
Yeah,
He's
so okay.
de-veganized.
So just basing on the two, I'd rather go with the musician than the actor.
There. Good answer. See, that's a good answer. Okay.
Lucas Lee isn't even a real actor. I think he's a glorified stuntman.
I don't know. He had a lot of movie posters, right?
I mean, like,
Okay. Let's go with Anjo for this next one. Okay.
oh my
Same
god.
game. Fuck, marry, kill. You got Roxy. You got the Katyanagi twins as a twofer, and Gideon Graves. Where do you go?
I'd kill him. I don't know. I don't want a manipulative dude. I don't know. I cannot choose between. I am not a bi-furious ninja. I would probably go with Mae Whitman, seeing as I could procreate with her. The other three
Okay.
aren't my type. Yeah, I can boink her knee. But yes,
Mm,
I want
who
to
do you
think.
kill?
probably Gideon because he's manipulative.
I see. And then you'll marry the Katyanagi twins. That is a
For the
twofer.
money and the dragons.
Yeah, actually, to be able to afford that setup they had as a
Like
band,
a wall
they're
of amps.
they're hella rich.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say
Yeah.
They have
so.
dragons. Dragons speak to me. I was born in the year of the dragon, so
That's a good answer.
Okay, I want to throw this at Misha. Okay,
Oh no.
so fuck, marry, kill. Scott Pilgrim. Scott
Out.
Pilgrim. Young Neil.
and the vegan police.
Let her ask.
I was actually gonna say Wallace, but then that's an easy marry. So let's not add
Yes.
Wallace. That's an easy
No!
marry.
Put Wallace back
So
in!
let's put the vegan police.
You!
Or that dude at the party played by Nelson Franklin.
Hirap nito, ano ba?
That random dude at the party, remember him?
Yes, I do.
So yes, young
They showed him twice.
as what was his name? I don't even remember his name.
I don't
It's just that
remember
random party guy played by Nelson
Yes.
Franklin. So yes, Nelson Franklin. What's his? Let me Google. What's his name? How do you say his name?
This is so sad.
Camus. But anyway, that random party guy, young Neil or Scott Pilgrim.
Why do you hate me? Okay.
Good. Answer.
I guess I gotta kill Scott Pilgrim. I'm sorry, I have to.
Yeah, he's an asshole to be.
He was immature.
Yeah,
He
but
cheated on knives.
he had to die to admit his faults. Okay, you really want to marry someone like that? No. So kill him. Just kill them all.